Alright guys, what is going on? Got a little bit of a different video. Hold on. There we go, I had to get the feel right. So I gotta say, every time I go to a car show these days, I see a bunch of people running around with Ronins and 5D Mark IIIs on them. Probably borrowed the money from their parents to get it. If that's not you, you have one, you paid for it, good on you. But what I'm trying to get across here is that you don't need to spend that much money to make good quality car videos. Or any cinematic video. It doesn't have to be just cars, but my channel's based on cars, so that's what we're going to talk about specifically. So how are you going to do it if you don't have $5,000 to spend on camera equipment? Well, you get yourself one of these. I don't really know how to pronounce the company's name, so I'm going to try not to butcher it. I think it's Zhiyun. This is their Smooth Q handheld gimbal. Alright, I can already see where this is going to go bad, so let's just kind of disregard the Ronin comparison for now, because it's not really fair to compare it to that, and I know all of you that have them are just going to immediately tear into this footage. So consider this more of a cheaper alternative to like the DJI Osmo Mobile, or similar handheld gimbal products for phones and GoPros and stuff like that. This is a handheld 3-axis gimbal built to hold phones, but they also make adapters so you can run a GoPro. This is Jake's GoPro Hero 6, and actually, this is Jake's gimbal as well. But I talked to the company who makes it and talked about getting one to do a review, and told them that if they wanted it out faster, I could just use Jake's, and they can send me one afterwards. So I have to say I didn't expect a whole lot out of this. These things are only 99 bucks brand new. But as you're about to see, you can make even the most mundane car, like a 1995 Honda Accord, look exciting with the right filming techniques and this little cheap piece of equipment. Now I say cheap loosely because it is cheap in terms of monetary value, but in terms of features and what it's capable of and build quality, I wouldn't dare call it cheap because this thing is incredible. We'll get more into it, but first, here's the video. So all of that footage was shot with just this gimbal and just my Samsung Galaxy Note 8 at 1080p. As you can see, with the right technique and the right ideas in place before you start recording, you can make good quality stuff with not so, again, I don't want to say not so great quality. I don't even know how to word this. You can make good quality videos without spending a ton of money. I'm sure a lot of you already have a Note 8 or an S8 or an iPhone, and the video quality is plenty good enough to get the ball rolling. You want to start a little film company, you start cheap, right? If you don't have a lot of money to invest initially, this is a fantastic place to start. So now, I'm going to go over some of the features it has and what you can do with it. All you have to do to turn it on is hold the record button. Once you turn it on, it lifts itself up, all balanced out and everything. Now you do initially have to set up the balancing for your phone or your GoPro or whatever you wind up putting on it, but it just takes a little adjustment of these screws right here. I don't know how well you can see them. There's a screw right there on the back of the camera mount or phone mount, and then there's another one right here that controls how far out this arm's going so you can counterbalance the overhang of the phone. I will say, with the Note 8 it being such a big phone, it does tilt slightly to the left, which isn't noticeable in footage, but it's kind of bothersome to me. Now, if you press the mode button 3 times quickly, it goes into vlog mode, which I could only imagine would be useful when you're not using a phone, because you could just use the front-facing camera on your phone if you wanted to, or if you wanted it to be the same quality as everything else, and you know, put it out vlog style, go film a dead body or something, I don't know. So with it in this mode, I can kind of show you some of its features, but first, let's connect to the Bluetooth. Now they have an app called ZY Play. I'm going to close out this Facebook chat. Apparently I didn't mute that long enough. All you need to do is make sure your Bluetooth is on and connect to the device and it'll pull it up. Now, this is where it gets impressive for the amount of money you spend on this thing versus the features you get as compared to a lot of way more expensive gimbals. You go into the settings menu, you can choose your video quality and calibrate it within the settings. All you need to do is pick whether you want to do the motor specifically or do the 6-point full calibration. Now the only weird thing about this is if you press 6-point full calibration, it flops the gimbal so your phone's facing straight down and you can't read it, but also on the phone is where you need to follow the instructions to stabilize it. So I can see that being useful if you had a GoPro on here and controlling it with your phone externally, but when you're trying to use that phone to set it up and to shoot with, it's a little bit cumbersome. The biggest complaint I had right off the bat was this joystick that controls everything. The controls are reversed. So they're not now. As you can see, you push forward, it tilts the camera down. Push back, it tilts the camera. Reverse. But it comes the opposite, so you can pick what axes you want reversed and what ones you don't, which is a very nice feature because, like I said, that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, that's kind of annoying. And that's just a personal thing. People might want to leave it that way. Just some software information, and then live, I don't know what that is, but you can also control in this screen the roll rate of each motor on each axis. And there's a whole bunch of smooth degrees, no idea what that is. Dead zone, have no idea what that is, but I'm sure if I spent enough time with it, I could figure it out. Like I said, this is a great thing to get started with, get the idea of gimbals. I've never shot with a Ronin, I've never had the money to spend on camera equipment like that. So having access to something like this is really nice because the price is just unbeatable. If you open this menu, you have several different options: moving time-lapse, slow motion, and default. The only thing I kind of have a gripe with is you can't really pick what frame rate you want to shoot in. I assume when you click high quality it shoots in 60 FPS, but I don't know for sure. I lied, you can pick your resolution. I blew it. But 60 FPS is not an option, so that's unfortunate. So some clips were shot specifically in 60 FPS because I knew it was going to slow them down, and if you want to shoot in 60 FPS and your phone's capable, you can just go to your regular phone camera. However, when shooting like this, none of the buttons on the gimbal, the record button specifically being the key one, is not going to work. I have to say the most impressive thing to me about this was this clip right here, where I was actually running alongside the car, and this is where a lot of handheld gimbals, including the DJI Osmo, kind of have a fault. When you're running, it really lays out unbalanced, obviously bumpy footage for good enough reason. You're running with it in your hand. But this did an absolutely outstanding job from my perspective. Yeah, well, you just saw the clip. It looks really good. I couldn't really tell I was running, but then again, I haven't seen it in my editor yet. I'll put down here in white letters if I contradict myself. Alright, it's a little bit bumpier than I had expected, but you have to consider the fact still that I'm running alongside the car, and for what it is, it looks really good. But obviously you can still switch the camera around, so like I said, instead of having it in vlog mode with pressing it to spin it around, you can just leave it in this mode with your phone, shoot with the front-facing camera. But yeah, all in all, for the price, this thing is outstanding, and I am super excited for them to send me one. If you want to get yourself one, the link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Definitely recommend the investment if you like shooting videos of car shows or anything you want smooth cinematic footage of. Now, one thing I did kind of want to bring up is it does have a few little glitches where every once in a while it'll kind of just get stuck and you have to turn it off, turn it back on. But I've only run into that a couple times. And then of course the shot where I was pointing it in the mirror, it doesn't quite have the capability to prevent the bouncing from road, especially if you were in a car with stiff suspension, but I can't imagine even a Ronin could combat that very well. I could honestly not praise this thing enough, and like I said, they weren't going to send me one until after I make the review anyway, and if I really thought it was bad, I would have been like, well, I don't want one anyway, so I'll just talk bad about it. But this thing is actually really incredible. For the price, it's insane. Comes with a charger, comes with a carrying case. Pick one up if you are interested in videography of any kind, because they are very, very cool. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. If you want to see what's coming up next, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, add me on Snapchat at BigB1011. We will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.